So I have a texture pack that works in vanilla, which adds endless cosmetic variants to Minecraft items. I have over 6,000 cosmetic variants in my pack now. Stuff like different weapons to use, different shields to defend yourself with, totems of undying, custom torches, 3D foods you can put down on the table, clocks, all in vanilla, all by renaming items. And in this video I'm gonna go over the new update of my texture pack. All these changes are from my pack called Mickey Joe's Barely Default, where I do a bunch of funky changes to Minecraft Java Edition. Much more than just the named cosmetic items like what this video is about. But I also have a second pack called All the Named Variants, which adds my 6,000 cosmetic item rename, but leaves the rest of the game alone. So yeah, enjoy the video. I'll start right here with some shields that I've added, and these are from Team Fortress 2. You can see there's the Charge in Targe and the Splendid Screen, 2 shields I've added. And the Splendid Screen is pretty special, you know, they're pretty basic shields. They kind of look Viking-ish. You could definitely use these in like a Viking-ish build, right, if you're making like a Viking ship. So yeah, this one has a chunk missing, and this one looks pretty basic, honestly. But it does have a few variants, the Splendid Screen, as it does in Team Fortress 2 as well, which get triggered either if you enchant it or if you damage the shield. So there's 4 variants in total. So this is what it looks like, the Splendid Screen, if you just rename any shield to Splendid Screen. And then if you have its durability, so if it loses a bunch of durability, it gets an arrow stuck in it, which is based on one of the Team Fortress 2 styles. And then if you enchant it with Unbreaking 3, it gets a little spike. The shield is reinforced now, something like that. And then if you have it at half durability and enchant it, it'll have a spike and an arrow. So it's like a cool dynamic little thing you can do to the shield. You can also just use this cosmetically, right? Like if you want some slight variety in your shields, if you're using these in a Viking build, for example, then you can do it that way. Then I have some Netherite swords. This one is the Jailer's Sword, which is not from anything. It's kind of an OC weapon, sort of. It's based on the Jailer's Scythe, which is a weapon from Minecraft Dungeons, which I've made a bit longer in this update, so it's now a valid weapon to use. And hoes are as well. This is a hoe rename, a Netherite hoe rename. And with the Barely Default data pack, CYKLOPPS and I have made hoes like a valid weapon to use. They have more damage, more range too, so they're like a really unique weapon of their own now. But if you're not using the data pack, then obviously, you know, having the Jailer's Scythe as a hoe, it's cool, it's fine, you know. If you need a hoe, might as well look cool, but it's not super peak in terms of weapons, right, in vanilla Minecraft without the data pack. So I decided, I don't know, I'll add a Jailer's Sword, you know, so you can have the vibe of the Scythe but as a sword. I don't know if that's super great vision, but that's what you know, that's my little solution, right, for the people who don't use the Barely Default data pack. But you should definitely use the Barely Default data pack where hoes have been turned into completely valid weapons. But this is all in vanilla, so we'll move on. Another Netherite sword, the Lance of Longinus, just a massive spear basically. The Lance of Longinus, this design of it is from the Evangelion series. And it refers to the lance that stabbed Jesus, which is, you know, it's not very festive, but here it is. It looks gory too, so it's an interesting Netherite sword rename for you to pick. Then I have the Bloodscale Blade from Skyrim. It was actually suggested to me in the comments, so if you have any suggestions, you know, comment them below, or make a thread in my Discord, you know, nice and personal. Anyways, yeah, the Bloodscale Blade, it's pretty epic. It's in Skyrim it shoots a laser, that's not included here, but if this is your favorite sword in Skyrim, it's pretty big and it's pretty epic, and you can use it. Simply rename any Netherite sword to Bloodscale Blade, and there you go, you got it already. Then a few weapons from the Legend of Zelda series. The one-hit obliterator, also suggested to me. It's a mace enchant, so you know, if you see someone running around with this, prepare to be one smacked with it, which is true to the name, and it has an enchantment dependent variant. So if you enchant it with Density, Smite, Bane of Arthropods, or Breach level 4, its texture is going to change slightly to the activated state, which is like canon to the actual weapon in the Legend of Zelda. So it just glows slightly blue. It's a little bit different. And then for Netherite swords again, this was also a suggestion. I have the Big Goron's sword. Bigoron's sword? I don't really know, but it's a pretty big sword. It's shaded pretty spectacularly, if I do say so myself, which I just did. And yeah, if you like it, you know the drill. You rename it and you get it. Some weapons from the Nier series also suggested. Jeez, look at me with all the fan suggestions. Isn't that something? Yeah, 2 new katanas to use, and I'm not the best at katanas. I'm gonna be real. Like, I think they always look kind of sketchy when I make them, but this is one of them. It's not quite bone. It's almost bone colored, but it's not quite bone colored. It's like a little bit shinier than bone. And there's a recolor of it too. It's the Virtuous Contract, which is a great name for katana, and also white and black for a blade. That's cool, you know, to have a white and black katana like this. It's a theme. It's a vibe. I really like this one. And then the Cruel Oath. You know, if you're a fan of the Nier series, then you might enjoy these. But I think this one specifically has like a great general audience's use. And this one too, you know, it's like a ancient katana vibe, right? It's cool, but it's probably mostly for Nier fans, that one more specifically. But let me know. I mean, I don't know, maybe you really love this one. It's your favorite weapon ever. Then another katana. I don't know why I keep doing it if I'm bad at them, but it is another one. It's a golden one. It's from Shadow Warrior 2. It's the Nobitsura Cage. I don't really know, but it's this one. You see the name right here, right? And it's only if it's that specific specific name, right? If it's a netherite sword with this specific name, it detects it. And yeah, it's a golden katana, pretty cool, pretty swazzy. Also a suggestion, as well as this one, the Deltarune Kilisi, which is a really cool weapon. It's from Metin 2, which is a game I've never heard of, but it's apparently a really big game in Turkey. This is also a Turkish name for a weapon, which is pretty cool. I didn't even know. Look at this. Look at these symbols. That's an eye, right? But without the little dot on it. And I didn't even know that was a thing, but here it is. So the Deltarune Kilisi with the eye in the Turkish way, I guess. But I also just included it with the eye that I have on my keyboard, right? There you go. If you do Deltarune Kilisi with just I don't know, Western eyes. I don't really know what to call that then. But okay, fine. It also works. So have it either way. And it's a cool sword. It has the rings on it. It's a real vibe. A lot of swords have rings on it like this, but I liked representing Metin 2. I thought it looked cool. Then some weapons from Deltarune. This is like the #1 requested series I should add weapons from, and I didn't do it for the longest time because I don't really understand the game even, right? Like, I feel like reading the wiki for the franchise is like reading an inside joke that I'm not in on or something. Like, it's full of phrases and sentences like dimension travel that I should just kind of take for granted, and as a reader outside of the universe don't make much sense, but I think I figured it out. And out of that, I only brought 4 weapons. So, I don't know if it satisfies the Deltarune community. Let me know. I hope you guys appreciate this. Almost literally the sprites from the game. Like, last video, I said that I don't like taking sprites from pixel art games, right? Like, I did the Zenith from Terraria and I re-sprited it because it felt wrong to just rip the sprite. And then here I am, basically having ripped the sprite. Almost exactly having ripped the sprite. But that's because the, Deltarune art style is relatively simple, It's more about very recognizable shapes. And if this weapon is about the shapes and the colors, right, then this is just what I add, right? So I didn't feel so bad about it either because I know Deltarunes will really enjoy it. But interesting how it goes, right? I say one video, oh, I'm not gonna do that, and then I do literally that. Pure hypocrisy, but here we are with a good pack, so it's fine maybe. So yeah, here's the first weapon of Deltarune. It's Susie's axe, and it comes in a couple of names. But I figured out that in Deltarune the different weapons don't actually have different looks, which was kind of a disappointment to me. I also didn't understand it. How does a game that's released recently, in this era, not have different weapon sprites for different weapons? But, here we are. And that's fine, I guess. So these are all axes from Deltarune. They're all Susie's axe, so it's the same axe, but, they have a different name in the inventory, right? Different stats. And for roleplay purposes, I figured I'll just include a bunch of names. So these are all names you can use for the same axe, right? And it's Susie's axe. Looks like this. Pretty big, pretty snazzy. Then we have Chris's sword, and it also has the names that the different swords that Chris has that you can use. I have one big document, right, that has all the names listed, and you can also just reference that if you don't know which name to use. But right, for the sake of this video, just showing it off. And yeah, it's Chris's sword from Deltarune, mostly for roleplay purposes, but that's kind of nice, right? You could have a shop with the different swords, and they all look the same, canon to Deltarune, but they have different names. So yeah, something I had to add because I really felt like the Deltarune community was gonna lynch me if I didn't eventually add these. So here we are. Another cool weapon from Deltarune is the Halberdle. It's a pretty terrible name, but I liked it. Which is Birdley's weapon, which is a netherite axe, right? And it's just a big ol' axe, but it has a special feature. If we take it into a different dimension that's not the overworld, it's gonna turn pretty weird, right? Is that like canonically the right thing to say, that it turns weird? I believe it is. And here it is. Look, it gets a little eye. Isn't that nice? I think that's pretty nice. And otherwise, it's just the same axe. So yeah, if you take Birdley's axe into the nether, it's gonna look custom. So that should be Deltarune lore. Let me know, I guess. And then the last rename I added is the black knife, which is not the original sprite because it is massive. The original sprite is literally ported to Minecraft. It's way too big. So a bit of a custom sprite, but basically it's just white and black. Again, it's about the iconic shape and the colors with Deltarune a lot of the time in the art style anyways. And I think it turns out cool. It's massive, but it is cool. It is a vibe, right? Having this like, I don't know, like this anti-sword or like, I don't know, this inverted color sword. I don't really know how to describe the vibe of this, but I think it is a really cool sword though. So the black knife, mostly impressive because of its unique shape. Here it is as well for netherite swords. Moving on to some trident renames that I've done. Here's the Master Bolt and the Thunderbolt, and they look only a little bit different, right? This one's gold and this one's like more like old gold, maybe like an ancient kind of material. I don't really know. And yeah, they're just tridents. You can throw them like that, and obviously their thrown state can't be modeled yet in Minecraft, but that's fine. That'll come eventually. For now, it's just a sharp piece of metal that you have that is shaped like a thunderbolt, right? If you just take a trident and you rename it to Masterbolt or Thunderbolt. But then if we start enchanting it with any level of loyalty, channeling, or Riptide, the textures of both of these change dramatically, right? So this is kind of their inactive state, where it's just a big pointed piece of metal. Fits a trident, right? You just throw it. There's not much magic to it, just magic potential. But then if you activate it, you know, their real look comes out, which I think is really cool, right? This is just like full-on Zeus mode, tossing lightning bolts around. Apart from the fact that you can't really see him if you throw him, right? It doesn't look like a lightning bolt, but you know, the fancy is there. You really hold it above your head. You're about to throw a lightning bolt. I think it's cool, especially if you use these with channeling. You know, it'll be really thematic. Of course, you can also use them with Riptide, right? And just zip around on your lightning bolt, I guess, right? That's fine too. Have either a blue one or a yellow one. And like I said already, channeling looks really cool too. I mean, you're literally tossing a lightning bolt, and wherever you land it, if you land it, there is lightning. So it's pretty immersive and a pretty cool rename. And I just can't wait till we can also model the Throne Trident, because that's gonna really finish this whole fantasy of, you know, being a thunder god or whatever this makes you feel like. Then I have some weapon renames from Ninjago, and I really hope I did this franchise justice, because the fans are again gonna come after me. And let's just start simple. Okay, let's start with the Blades of Deliverance. I've added them both, and you can't really well, you can totally dual wield them, but it doesn't really do anything in Minecraft yet. But yeah, there's the Shadow Blade of Deliverance and the Ivory Blade of Deliverance for the white one, and just two different swords you can get. So added those canon Ninjago weapons. Then there's the icon of the Source Dragon of Life. I don't know why all these weapons have such long names, but okay, it's fine. And apparently I've been told that this doesn't even need to be the icon of the Source Dragon of Life, right? It could be the icon of a different Source Dragon. We don't know, because this is unreleased lore. I just, you know, got suggested this weapon, and I thought fine. And if the theory that it's from the Life Source Dragon isn't correct, then I'll just change the name afterwards, alright? It's fine. Then there's the Reveal Blade, another weapon. It's pretty simple, but it's also pretty cool. It has a straight blade like this, and I really like the design. It's a Ninjago weapon, right? Just translated to the Minecraft style. Ninjago has really cool weapon designs, I think, right? Not being into the show, I'm into Lego though. I loved Legos as a kid, but I was a bit too old to get into Ninjago, I guess. But not having seen the show, just diving into the universe. They have a lot of cool weapon designs, so I'll gladly do a bunch of them, I guess, right? As is evident by this big wall. And we'll move on to the icon of the Source Dragon of Strength. It's a mace, and it's a big old hammer, also from the show. It looks pretty painful, like this pointy edge like this is a vibe, and it looks like it would hurt, so pretty cool. Then there's the icon of the Source Dragon of Motion, which is just a little dagger, right? It looks like the Reveal Blade, but just like a smaller version of it, so that's cool. It has this 3D handle that I gave it, which makes it unique. You know, I don't really know who uses a dagger. I think most people prefer a big sword, like a legendary sword vibe, but if you are into daggers, this is gonna come in handy, right? It's cool either way. I thought it was a cool design. I liked adding Ninjago. It was a really cool universe to dive into. And then I'll move on to the golden weapons, which are some of my favorites in the selection. I really love these. Initially, I had only done the Sword of Fire and the Scythe of Quakes, but I've extended it now to the other golden weapons, because I really think, like I said, the Ninjago community is not gonna take well to me only adding 2 out of 4 golden weapons. So for Netherite Hose, this pretty epic looking scythe, I really love this. Like, this is like some of my favorite pixeling that I've done. Ninjago weapons, like I said, also just really cool designs, right? Having the dragon heads woven into all the weapons. I love it. And here it is in Minecraft. So if you're using the Veil of Evil data pack, this could be a real proper weapon you have. Like, Hose have like extra reach, extra range, and they do more damage. But if you're in vanilla, you know, you could use this as a farm tool, because it is. The Scythe of Quakes is also a farm tool. Then we have the Golden Sword of Fire, which is fairly generic, you know. It has the dragon theme again, but it's just a golden sword to me, you know. Might be, honestly, one of the least interesting ones, having done them all, right? Like this one, I think this one is much cooler. The Shuriken of Ice is a rename for tridents. So that's, you know, that sucks again with the thrown projectile not matching up, but at least it like somewhat makes sense, right? You hold it over your head and then you just throw with it, or you hit people with it, because it's still like sharp. And I really love this model I did. It's really unique. A triangle like this is almost like an impossible shape to pull off, because you have to like misalign all the elements. So I kind of fixed it by connecting them up with a flat plane, which just ended up making the weapon look sharp. So it really works. I think it's really cool. I'm really happy with it, and I hope the Ninjago fans are too, to have all the golden weapons available now, even if it, like, you know, it's kind of vague, like a trident as a shuriken, but fine, we don't have a shuriken to overlay, so a trident works. And then finally the nunchucks of lightning, which might be my absolute favorite, and it's pretty wacky, and I'm gonna hold it right now, and you're gonna see that it spins continually, which it kind of has to, because they're nunchucks, right? And if you're swinging them around, that's kind of how it goes, right? This is what it will look like. And honestly, this right now is kind of the vibe of nunchucks, right? They're kind of just flopping around like this, especially if you see it in third person mode. I thought if you're like just punching like this,
This kind of looks like you're doing ninja moves almost, no? Doesn't it? A little bit? Like you're almost like swinging it around you. Like it works surprisingly well, right? Having this constant swinging effect going on. And yeah, you can see in your inventory, it's just the two handles neatly in the slot. And on the ground is the two handles again, but like in a different arrangement. They're not spinning. And in an item frame, they don't spin either. I thought this would be a good way to have this weapon on display, like neutrally. And there's also a tiny bit of emissiveness going on with these weapons. Like the nunchucks, the lightning is emissive. The hammer has some emissive glowing parts. The reveal blade is slightly emissive. It's not like 100%. It looks like super bright, but it's slightly emissive, so that's cool. And then the nunchuck lightning, you know, I think it's convincing. I think this works really well. I didn't want to do it at first. I thought nunchucks as a sword, like, it's kind of lame. But also, my pack has bug chocolates, so maybe it's not the craziest idea, all right? And it turned out looking real cool. I really like this. Like, I might even use this, because this is super swag. Just like... boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's the Ninjago weapons. And I already had some as well before this update. I thought I'd show them off. I have the Ninja Hammer, which is a hammer that Cole uses at some point. And it's just a big hammer. It's a mazery name. So, you know, even if you're not a Ninjago fan, this one works. And the Ninja Trident, which is Nier's trident or spear. I don't really know. It's a sai on a stick. Is that a spear? Because a spear is kind of just a sword on a stick. But maybe a sai, since it has the 3 points, that automatically makes it a trident. Either way, it's a trident in the pack anyway. So yeah, trident variant as well. Ninja Trident, which is Nia's trident, right? Is that how you say her name? It doesn't really matter. And then I had also previously added the Ninja Blade, which is just a blue version of the reveal blade. I don't really know how that makes sense, but I just really like the design of the Ninjago weapon, so I thought I'll just do it in a different color. And this is actually Ivor's color scheme, so it should match pretty well with Ivor's ninja outfit, which is a cool, deliberate Minecraft lore tie-in. So basically that's why I added it. So yeah, enjoy. Have the reveal blade canonically in red or in barely default blue, I suppose. And then we're almost through the renames that I've added this update, but there's some big ones in my opinion, you know, some dynamic changes, like the shield has 4 renames in one, sort of, right, with the different styles. But let's just get into it. They're renames for spawn eggs, which is fun. So if you rename a Vindicator spawn egg to Johnny, which will result in it spawning a Vindicator named Johnny, which will result in it being super aggressive against everything. We'll get a pig, for example, that's a mob he doesn't normally attack, and now he does. He goes after him. It's because of the name, and now if you have a spawn tag with the name, it's gonna, you know, it's basically to signal that you got the name right? As you're writing this name, you're like, what the fuck? How did I spell it? Johnny? What was it? No, how, you know, and then you get the red eyes, you know. And the same goes for the Jeb sheep spawn egg, you know, if you're just writing the name, you'll know because it's rainbow colored, and that's gonna correspond to the actual rainbow colored sheep in game that's now killed. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, some creative mode only renames. But if you're using the barely default data pack, there is now an enchant called Extract. It is for hoes, so you could use the Scythe of Quakes with the Extract enchant to get, well, that's what the enchant does. It gets spawn eggs, right? If you have Extract enchanted on your hoe, it adds a chance for mobs to drop their spawn eggs. So that's pretty cool. You can actually get this item in survival now too and display it on your wall. I don't know. Some renames, some useful renames. And that's it. That's the update. But the pack has a lot more. Like I said, I have a document that has all the renames. And it's huge. You should just take your time and scroll through it. And make sure to check out the different categories. And yeah, comment below. Give me your suggestions. Join my Discord if you can find a link. And get the pack. It's out. I'm playing right now with my full pack. Mickey Joe's barely default, right? It has all my changes. Like the top of cut sandstone. So it's different. So you can make like a little pattern with it. But I also have a separate pack that's called all the named variants, and it's only the renames. So you just get vanilla Minecraft, but with fancy renames like this. So, you know, you can get either. But be a fan, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And thanks to the people who have subscribed, because 4,000 subs. Hey-oh, that's pretty cool. That's a big number, that's cool. I love it. And thanks to you guys, I am growing. So I hope that this video and this update is also proof that I appreciate it. Like these, almost all of these are like suggestions by fans, people in my Discord, you know, gamers who just want to be represented with a resource pack. Can one pack please represent all gamers? No, it's probably impossible to have all the weapons, but I'm gonna do it anyways, and we'll see how far I get, because I'll keep doing this till I die. That's a guarantee. Another reason to subscribe, and I do some funny raps too. Alright, fine. Yeah, that's done. Yeah, done. That's how we do it. Bye.